Welcome back to the Prayin and Slayin Podcast, the official podcast of Light the Fire Outdoors. We hope you guys had an awesome Christmas and New Year and a closeout to your 2024, and we can't wait to give you guys all the awesome news and upcoming updates for Prayin and Slayin Podcast, for Light the Fire Outdoors, our new partnerships, and the new opportunities we have in the new year. So with that, let's jump into the podcast and get you guys caught up on what's going on, what's to come, and we can't wait for an awesome 2025 season. Thank you so much for your support. Let's jump into the podcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Prayin and Slayin Podcast. This is a kickoff to our 2025 season. This is just an intro episode. We hope you all had an extremely, very, very Merry Christmas with your family and all those that are close to you. And obviously, we hope you had a great kickoff into the 2025 season. This is the official podcast of Light the Fire Outdoors, where Light the Fire Outdoors is about all things supporting veterans, conservation, and local community outreach in the neighborhoods that we happen to be stationed in. We've got some big announcements. We've had some major changes in 2024. We've got some big announcements for 2025, and some new content and opportunities to provide you guys some new things, new messages, and hopefully a whole lot more new stuff to come, and we'll get to that a little bit later. Welcome back, everybody. We had some major changes personally here on the home front. First and foremost, my wife and I are the proud parents of a baby boy that we had almost 3 years ago. Coming up here in February, he will be 3. So our life has been crazy changing and ever changing. I feel like every time you get used to what that little man is doing now, get ready and hold your breath, because everything's about to change on a moment's notice. And it's been an awesome journey being a dad of that. And speaking of being a dad, I had the very unexpected, I guess I'll put it as an opportunity, but also got put in a position to make a decision for myself and my family to step away from my full-time career. I was 8 years in at a company in the outdoors industry, and had the blessing and opportunity to make a decision to step away from them and become have the opportunity now to become a full-time dad. And the unexpected blessing there is I had an opportunity to really sit down and think and prioritize, and I now will be able to do Light the Fire Outdoors and all things Prayin and Slayin Podcast and Prayin and Slayin brand full-time / part-time, because my first and foremost focus is obviously on the little man and being the best dad and husband that I can be. But we have some new opportunities now, man. So really excited for the new opportunities there for 2025 and beyond. We have a lot of big plans for Prayin and Slayin to bring you guys more consistency and more episodes there. Add a lot more topics and I guess broaden our content base as far as what Prayin and Slayin is. Personally, I've got a lot of ideas that go into what the messages we could bring. Obviously, we've stuck it to the outdoors world primarily, but as you guys know, this is about faith. This is about being the best person you can be. This is about supporting those different communities we're surrounded with. My passions, obviously, being a veteran myself, the veteran community, being able to support them. We want to bring a lot more content around that. Conservation, the outdoor space, hunting, fishing, all things outdoors and conservation. We plan to bring you guys a lot more content around that as well, and then bring you guys an inside look as to what we do at Light the Fire Outdoors and through Prayin and Slayin to the local community outreach things that we do. We've done a lot of projects here in our local Montgomery County, Maryland, where we're stationed now, and we're excited to finally have time to develop the content streams around that. Hopefully some video stuff for you guys to check out on our YouTube channel. We'll be talking about it on the Prayin and Slayin Podcast, the local projects that we're doing to improve our local areas here, local communities, and then obviously we'll be doing it, I think, through the blog as well, lightthefireoutdoors.com. So we'll be doing a lot of cool things that way to bring you guys a better, closer inside look to, you guys support us, and it ultimately supports a bigger mission for supporting veterans, conservation, and local community outreach. And this is just one of our outlets to do that. So excited to finally have time and the ability to bring you guys a closer, inside, more intimate look to what we do here and what you guys are ultimately a part of. Really, really cool. So on the Light the Fire Outdoors note, I took the opportunity. I was sitting around one day and just kind of started thinking about what we could do. We established it as a business, I think, in 2014. We've had the ability through the support of a lot of my friends, some, little customers, or the small group of customers, I guess, that we built up over those years, who've, bought our swag, the hats, the decals, things like that. We've got some new rocks glasses that are kind of fun for the podcast kickoff again. But through all those little things that we've done that way, we've been able to support some bowling teams. We've been able to do, so on the veteran side of things, we've been able to build some fishing line receptacles and things like that, just some smaller projects. But knowing the skills and everything I learned over the last 8 years in my full-time career in the outdoors industry, doing some soul searching or some reflecting, I realized that one thing I'm extremely passionate about and very good at, or had the opportunity to develop skills to be good at, is helping small businesses that I think have a great potential to bring some value to the outdoors world and the hunting and fishing communities. Take their brand and make sure they've got an established grassroots footprint. And I could go on. I'll probably do a whole podcast just on that eventually. So we are actually doing full-time consulting now, which is fun. It's something I'm extremely passionate about. I enjoy doing, and with that, I'm so super stoked that our very first partnership for Light the Fire Outdoors through this consulting business is Dead Nuts Outdoors. They are a line of 2D targets. They're made here in America. Basically, take your outdoor range and you're tired of shooting at that 3D foam or the square foam block. You can actually put a 2D target of any animal you could possibly think of. They got full-size elk, mule deer, pronghorn, bighorn sheep. They're coming out with a mountain goat, whitetail deer. I think I said mule deer if I didn't. Mule deer, all the cool stuff that we love or dream of hunting and shooting at. You can now do it right in your backyard. These things weigh ounces. They're weatherproof. The 3D or the realism on them is insane. The high definition imaging they use, and they're 2D, so they fold up. You can friggin' stick them in a closet. You don't have to worry about buying a 100 or 50 or 75 pound foam target that's going to wear out in the weather after a couple of years. I'm psyched about these things. I'm not going to tell the story for them. I will let them bring it on, and we plan to have them on very, very soon here in the next couple of weeks for the first full series podcast episode. We'll have Dead Nuts on to tell their story, and they're going to be a regular part of the podcast because they're also officially the first sponsor of the Prayin and Slayin Podcast. So you guys will be hearing their name a lot. We'll be doing some advertising with them or for them, and then obviously having them as a regular part of the podcast, talk all things hunting outdoors, and obviously share their story, new exciting things they've got coming out, that kind of stuff. So very, very excited to announce that. I'm passionate about the brand. You couldn't ask for a better couple. It's the Daniels family out of Washington. It is who owns and operates the company. Just you couldn't ask for a better group of people to be working with and beside and for and partner with. And I'm so excited to have their partnership on this, and obviously excited to do what we can do to help support them and their growth for their business. So really, really excited for that. But man, more to come on that. Like I said, I feel like I could talk about that all day as well. A lot of things. I get passionate. My mouth starts moving. But moving on, I want to keep this one short. This is more just to give you guys an overview of what's coming in 2025 and beyond. So, we got a lot of new things I want to do with the Prayin and Slayin podcast as well. Obviously, we're going to be hearing from the LTFO partners as that community grows. We're going to make sure those partners are always a part of what we do here in the Prayin and Slayin world. I think we're going to start bringing in more of the pillars from Light the Fire Outdoors in as well. So I've got a lot of veteran buddies that are outdoorsmen. I'd love to highlight them and what they do, and we'll talk about their military life as well as their hunting life in the military side of things. I've got a lot of cool ideas for that you guys will be seeing in the segments from the conservation space. One of my favorite things I got to do at the previous company I worked for was develop and run their conservation program, and I always had a little bit of my fingers in that through my 8 years there. And I just found such a friggin' passion for it. It's part of who I am, as an outdoorsman myself, but also previous park ranger, and then, getting in the outdoors world. Like, that's where my heart sits, is wanting to support the people that make the habitats and all the things that keep these animals and critters around and the public lands healthy and all those good things. I totally plan to have a bunch of those people on wherever I can snag them from whether it's Whitetails Unlimited, Pheasants Forever, Rocky Mountain Elk, Mule Deer Foundation, NWTF, you name it. If I can get some time from them, the people that are behind the scenes. So, there's the big faces out there that have probably been on every other podcast. I'm about the grassroots. That's what we're about here, helping grassroots communities build. And I want to get the grassroots look at what these people do behind the scenes and different faces and people you may never actually get a chance to see or meet that are really the meat and potatoes of each of those organizations. So definitely plan on having episodes tied to that. Again, talk about what they do, how you guys can get involved in those organizations, and obviously have them tell us some of their cool hunting stories or some of their favorite parts about what they get to do in the outdoors world, all that good stuff. And then obviously we're going to be sharing our good old hunting stories. I plan to have John on. He's been a co-host here for off and on for the years we've had the Prayin and Slayin podcast, and him and I have the opportunity to share hunting stories all the time. So one of our worst habits is having phone conversations without a microphone running, because typically some of the best storytelling we do is there. But I plan to have some good buddies on that I can tell my stories to. Probably have my wife on, tell her hunting stories as she gets a chance to squeeze it into what she's got going on. And obviously John and Jeremy and all the good guys and tons of people. We plan to have a lot of good hunting content in there as well. Really excited about that. That will always be a part of what we do. But yeah, man, so a lot of cool things that I'll have the opportunity to do now with the Prayin and Slayin podcast. Like I said, semi-full-time, being able to do this has just opened so many doors to tackle new ideas, and my laundry list of ideas is insane, and my wife's always, reminding me that ideas are only as good as the action you can put into them, but having the time and energy and refocused bandwidth now to be able to focus on things that ultimately are a priority for me and important for me to do, and I feel called to do, is super exciting, and I can't wait to really dump this out there, man. It's going to be awesome. And then finally, I don't know how I'm going to sprinkle this in, but I'll kick it off in this episode, and we'll see how it fits. But I'm very passionate, always have been. I was a competitive weightlifter for a while, so physical health was always really important to me. Obviously, my spiritual health throughout my entire life has been a big part of my life, and in my faith in God and Jesus, and I want to make sure that's a priority. But mental, physical, and spiritual health are three keys to a good life, and even our military adopts those pillars as well for the the whole airman concept is what we call it in the Air Force. But I want to be able to highlight some of those things and hopefully drive some encouragement and just education around that stuff too. So I'm not really sure, like I said, what that looks like, but we definitely plan to sprinkle it in. Like this year, everybody's got New Year's resolutions, I'm sure, and just so happens I don't really consider it a resolution. But this year I am kicking off the year, the 30 days in January here, 31, whatever, starting off with a carnivore diet. So taking the opportunity to totally reset everything about my body, my digestive system, my response to sugar intake, and there's a whole laundry list of things. And my body responds really well to keto and carnivore, and I feel passionate that's a good thing for a lot of people that maybe haven't tried it. But I'll keep you guys apprised of that progress. I'm on day 3 right now, or day 3 or 4. I'll have to go look at the calendar. I feel great, man. In 3 days, 3 or 4 days, my energy's already through the roof. My mental focus is on point. With this, it's also part of my phase 1, 75 Hard. If you guys don't know about that program, go look up Andy Frisella and the 75 Hard program. I would challenge anybody to do that. We'll definitely keep you guys surprised because I plan to make that an annual part of what I do personally, and try to drag some buddies into it as well. And you guys feel free to follow along the progress with that. But anyway, it just so happens carnivore is my diet that I chose for this 30 days in January that I plan to do phase 1. So that's 2 workouts a day, 5-minute minimum cold shower, which I've done a cold shower every day for as long. Sometime in Montana I started that, so it's been probably 4, almost 5 years that I've been doing that every day anyway, so that's easy. Read some books, no alcohol, and just make yourself better is the entire point of the program. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Like I said, day 3, I'm down 6 pounds already, which most of that's going to be water weight. I think that's expected, but either way, man, I'm just excited to reset and see how the progress of this 30 days goes. So wrapping all that back, I plan to bring you guys some, like I said, some health journey stuff, tidbits about mental, spiritual, and physical health wherever we can. Hopefully encourage some people to take better care of themselves or continue taking care of themselves, because at the end of the day, we've seen a bunch of stuff with 2024 with, I don't know, the governments or whatever you want to think on that and everything else, man. And I think it's just a huge reminder for us to look at the opposite end of that coin and say, hey, no matter what goes on out there, if I'm taking care of myself and being the best that I can be the best for my family and my neighbors, and just be a better pillar in my community. And I think we need some strong leaders in our communities, and that's where it starts, is with yourself. So I believe that wholeheartedly, and have a lot of people that I follow that are in that same boat. So anyway, I plan to bring you guys some of that wherever I can sprinkle it in, but I'll keep you guys apprised of my journey to kick it off. So again, carnivore, and we'll see where I'm at the end of 30 days, and I'll give you guys an update. So yeah, man, that's awesome. And then of course, obviously, if you're watching the video, this is something new this year too. I plan to do all these on video as well. However we can record that. I will always promise to you to grow a rut stash. That's been my thing since I got out of the Air Force, is to grow an outstanding mustache at least once a year. Right now, I think we're on, I started in October, so We're on months, 3 or 4, 5, somewhere in that ballpark of an awesome rut stash. And if I haven't shaved it, that means I haven't killed a deer. So I had a very rough season, and we'll talk about that. I had a great season in some other ways, but big game deer kicked my butt this year. We'll talk about it on a different podcast. But I've got the rut stash. This will happen every year. If you've seen the Prayin and Slayin logo, that's where it comes from. And John, he's got a magnificent mustache as well, so he'll always, I think, stick up to that commitment too whenever he's on and off the podcast here. So we're pumped, man. I wouldn't have told you in a million years if I started at 2024 January that by December and January of 2025 we would be doing this in a full-time, part-time capacity, that I'd have the opportunity the blessing every day. I look at it as more and more of a blessing that I get to spend full time with my son and watch him grow up and be here for him. And my wife is just kicking so much butt and be able to support her. We've got a crazy 3 years here with our military lifestyle that she's rocking out with her doctorate degree to be a nurse practitioner. And just, man, it's been a huge blessing. And at the end of the day, this idea and opportunity to do this full time would have never been in the realm of thinking without all of your guys' support. You know, all of our friends and family over the years who've supported this since it was Like the Fire Outdoors at its inception, and the Prayin and Slayin podcast journey we've had. And now, what a blessing, man, to be able to come to you guys and say, hey, thank you for your support, and here's where we're at. And this thing's just getting started. We'll say that all the time because it's always going to be the truth. But yeah, man, we look forward to keeping you guys rocking and keeping the support rolling for our veterans, conservation, and local community outreach projects that we'll be continuing to support through this mission, and through your support. You guys are supporting it as well. So thank you so much for that. Couldn't ask for a better opportunity to kick off 2025, and we hope you guys are excited for what you have coming. We hope you've got some big goals, and we hope you really take the time to reflect and just take a deep breath. You don't have to put pressure on yourself. It's all about day-to-day progress, baby. And I heard something today, the consistent commitment to progress every single day, regardless how big and small those steps are, is really what's important. So wake up every day, do your best, and we are so excited to have you along for this journey here. And I'm going to leave you with something I started doing at the end of the last couple Prayin and Slayin podcasts, but I want to leave you guys with a message of faith today. In Hebrews 11:1 was the verse I thought was really fitting to kick this off. And it says that faith is the confidence that what we hope for will actually happen, and it gives us the assurance about things we can't see. Again, if you asked me in 2024 what the end of that year would look like, there's no way in hell I could have seen it. And I think in a lot of ways, being able to separate myself from some things and having time to reflect showed me how much focus I had lost on faith and what's ultimately important, and putting my trust in things or people or jobs or titles that at the end of the day, the confidence in those, they can come and go with the snap of a finger. Or things can change, people change, all the different things. And one of the things that I went really heavy into when I started my journey in the outdoors industry was I felt really led that this was my new path, and I'm so thankful I did. It was a great journey for 8 years, and it was a good opportunity to learn a lot of things that I didn't know when I started that I know now, that are just, it was a stepping stone when I get a chance to reflect on it and look back on it to what's next and what we'll be able to do in this new journey. And I never saw that, but I lost a lot of faith along the way because I quit looking at the right things. And faith is just that opportunity. If you're always rooted in where your faith and where your heart lies, if you're always rooted in the right things and following Jesus and always looking forward to that path, you really can't go wrong, because it's going to show you the good things and highlight them so you continue to go those directions, and it's going to really highlight the negative things as long as you've got it through a lens of faith. It'll highlight the things that maybe you should have cut a long time ago, or whatever those negatives are. You'll be able to navigate through those challenges a lot easier. But yeah, man, with that, thank you guys again so much for tuning in to the Prayin and Slayin podcast for the 2025 kickoff season. We're going to have the Dead Nuts guys on, I think, on the next episode and have a blast talking to them. I'm excited for them to share their story with you and introduce you guys to who they are and what they're doing, and just some of their cool stories that they've already told me that I'm excited for them to share with you. So with that, everybody, have a very blessed rest of your day. Welcome to 2025. Kick some butt this year, and we can't wait to see you on the next episode of the Prayin and Slayin podcast. We'll talk to you later.